I'll start again by expressing my disappointment that the Kings of Tupelo was not about the KC letters case, but was entirely about the strange people I discovered, the hard way really, living in Tupelo. Well, you should have known that, Dusky. The name is Kings of Tupelo. Yeah, well, no. For the 2.5 years that I was privy to this project and doing multiple phone interviews nearly daily, that's not what it was called, and that's not how it was presented to me. In fact, the studio informed me that the name Kings of Tupelo was chosen only by Netflix about 2 weeks before the release date. So I was preparing this last 2.5 years as if the series would be about revealing the truth behind that case, the KC letters, and that's the direction probably all of us thought it was going, but it wasn't. It was all about Tupelo, presented as if I was just some sort of a passing stranger, and that seems to be the dominant narrative, and it's completely false. In fact, GQ magazine's 11-page feature called me a, quote, mystery man, and, quote, a mysterious figure, and quote, shadowy. But that's nonsense, and I'm going to clear this up to the public right now, or at least those of you who care about the truth of it, and my history in Tupelo, since apparently that's what the studio felt was relevant, as if anybody gives a damn about Tupelo or its self-appointed kings. But to do that, I'm actually going to have to start south of there in a much better place named Meridian. I grew up many different places, literally. It's hard to explain, but Meridian is what I claim. In fact, if you look at the yearbooks at Northeast Lauderdale, which is a sub-rural of Meridian, you'll find me there from 3rd grade and up. Although I also do show up in newspapers in Texas and Florida. It's a long story. But all the way through graduation, although you shouldn't look for me in 6th grade because I skipped that one, which is why I was the youngest in my graduating class. While in high school, I started working in radio broadcasting. This was 1988, back when radio was good, and that's how I put myself through college later, even though I did, get scholarships, and I really stayed in radio for the next decade, eventually even winning the top awards with the Association of Broadcasting. My first university stint was in Alabama, but Livingston University, and that's kind of an easy daily commute from Meridian. All the while, childhood included, I spent my evenings on the dojo floor, and in several different styles, eventually settling on Taekwondo in 1990, I believe, and by 1994, won the Grand National Championship. Even though my minor was psychology, I ended up working at Meridian's Rush Hospital in telemetry, which is cardiac, for a year to pay back my nursing scholarship. And in the mid-90s, I left the hospital and taught Taekwondo at a school there. With that owner's help, and with a very large check from my Nana, I then moved to Hattiesburg, opened up Hattiesburg Taekwondo Plus with that partner who had a majority equity. It was hugely successful, but after some controversy, my business partner, who outranked me, by the way, suddenly needed cash, and I couldn't buy him out, so he kind of forced me out, and so I then opened up my second Taekwondo school in Laurel while still broadcasting. My first wife, a kind of a delicious redhead with absolutely no soul, and we were raising two perfect kids in Hattiesburg until, well, I still don't know what happened. One minute we were together, life was looking up. The next minute we weren't. But I was running a successful business and was an esteemed broadcaster with an Arbitron ratings that put me at number one. It was on the 1996 Pre-Olympic Training Committee. We had two perfect, happy kids. But my whole world was kind of turned upside down as I was suddenly, left without a purpose. And when you're young, in the mid-20s, everything, especially a breakup, is some huge deal, and that's right around the time also that Clear Channel, now known as iHeart, began buying up every single radio station in sight, and that included SL 100. So change was forced on me, but because somebody had made me an offer, I really wasn't in a position to refuse it, and I took it like a lifeline. I even got sued around that same time by a vacuum cleaner company for patent infringement. So I needed that lifeline. And
this call is from a federal prison.
that's that's when I disappeared for a couple of years, abandoning my old life. And I don't like talking about all that. I don't like reliving it, but I can put it like this: I felt like I had lost everything that was meaningful. So I'd swear off. I just swear off things like happiness and love for a while, since obviously I really wasn't allowed to have that. So the next 9 months of my new direction, which were in 3 month segments called interims, were just exciting enough to keep me curious and interested, which is my default cognitive position, but just boring enough to get me wanting more, which I damn sure got. So yeah, I kind of disappeared for a few years and went some places, did some things. Around late 1999, I started commuting to Tupelo. Even got a little apartment there so I could resume Taekwondo training. Although I had there were some contacts that I had made, and I managed to procure a huge chunk of bandwidth of a geostationary satellite, which had a footprint that covered all of North America, and I had a contract with Quest. That became Elocity. Elocity was my newest corporate baby, and this was at a time, remember, when everybody was using Earthlink and AOL and some local ISPs. I was about to give the world high-speed internet, broadband, before anyone had heard of even such a possibility. I financed it with another contract that I had with multi-billionaire Charlie Ergen's company, Ecosphere, and a Mississippi-based telecom that was named WorldCom as they liquidated their Wireless One wireless cable division. So a multi-million-dollar deal, which enabled me to open sales and install offices in Boston and Virginia and Huntsville and Jackson, Mississippi, Laurel, and my corporate home office was there in Tupelo, Mississippi. And this is anyone, even now, can review the Secretary of State's records and see that my corporate records were there. AirMax, StarMax, Aon Media, Aon State Health Exchange, and even my global telecom company, Elocity. They were all headquartered right there in Tupelo, Mississippi. There's nothing mysterious about it. I was on the main streets as early as 2000 or 2001 and so. I hired tons of people there. I joined the CDF, the Community Development Foundation, and I even married into, I guess, Tupelo royalty there, the daughter of a multimillionaire financier, although that didn't last very long. In 2004, I started and added a newspaper into my corporate portfolio, starting it from scratch, actually. And then in 2006, an insurance brokerage, tax preparation, even opened my third Taekwondo school in 2005. Now, all of that does not sound like somebody that's keeping a low profile, does it? Is there anything about that that seems mysterious? No. Every location was very prominent on the two busiest streets in Tupelo. I was doing billboards, bulk mail-outs, running national commercials, live radio broadcasts. It was very public. There's nothing mysterious about any of that. The only thing that's mysterious, I guess, was that I never checked with the so-called quote unquote kings of Tupelo to get their permission to be successful in their town. It was like, how dare this Dutchske guy come here to be successful without our permission? That was their incredulity. The truth is, I never even really acknowledged them, and why should I? I never kissed their ring, and well, why not? Well, because I didn't know or care that they existed, or that anyone could have even had some sort of problem with a non-Tupelite like me hiring a bunch of people, or including some sort of king tribute in any of my plans. Why? That thought doesn't occur to normal people. I wasn't interested in that pond. I didn't care to be the big fish in a small pond. My company was global. We're a global telecom powered from a satellite 22,000 miles in space. I can't think of another 31-year-old who owns his own satellite. Can you? Well, at least space. Own part of it anyway. We'll put it that way. Well, I was that guy. And, of course, I wasn't quiet about it. That's not my style. So I don't know what they mean by mysterious figure or unknown figure. The real success means staying busy. And being smart is kind of useless without hustle, because success, think about it, success is more about the hustle than anything else. So questions that they ask, like where did Dutchke come from? Where did he get his money? There's nothing mysterious about any of that. None of it. That is that part of this new phony narrative that seems to be popular was actually propagated first by GQ magazine, trying to paint me as the shadowy guy, which my public face certainly wasn't. I understand that that fit their agenda, but that's not true. Granted, there was that side of me too. Yes, I did wear a lot of hats. I did a lot of things, but from the perspective of Tupelo, the only mystery was how dare this Dutchke guy ignore the kings? You know what? Who cares? I didn't need or seek their approval or permission. Now, as to the other hats, they do become relevant in future posts here. I will detail them as best as I can. Those mysteries as best as I can. They will be clarified for you too. But for now, that's my three chords and the truth.